So today I'm going to be doing a review on the Rigol oscilloscope, the DS1102E, and it's a two-channel oscilloscope with the ability to measure waveforms up to 100 megahertz. It has a 1 giga sample per second rate, and it's a very impressive oscilloscope for its price range. Delivered I paid $500, and I'll include the link of where I got it from in the comment section below, so if you guys are interested in getting your own. And let's just get right into it. So I just want to start this review with what you get in the setup. Of course you get your oscilloscope, and then it comes with a power cord, two probes, some probe accessories right here, a USB cable, and the manual and the warranty and all that fun information that we all just crave. I just want to go into the actual physical characteristics. So it's a very small unit itself, and it's extremely light, which is a really nice feature for me as a student. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and I can move it pretty easily without worrying about anything. Now it does have a fairly nice handle. I know it's not a big feature, but when you're always moving it does come in handy. And the one feature I really love about this is the screen. It's a really awesome color. It's very bright. I'll start up later and you guys can take a look at it, but it's extremely nice. And all the buttons are very nice. They all work. And one feature I really like about the buttons is on the vertical, horizontal, and the trigger. They all have the ability to push in, and when you do, it instantly zeroes the scope, which is a really awesome discrete feature. And the other thing that it has, which I just actually discovered not too long ago, are the legs. So when you're working at a desk, it's really nice that the screen's tilted up and facing you as opposed to bending down your neck all the time. So it's one of those mild features that once again just goes a long way. Okay, so let's get this oscilloscope started. So the power button's on the top left hand corner. So just push it in, and it goes into the load screen. Now a cool little thing about this is it remembers the last channels you left on and off. So when I turned this off last time, both channel 1 and channel 2 were off, and that's why they're not on now. And as you can see here, I have the oscilloscope channel 1 probes attached to the test function on the oscilloscope, which is a 1 kilohertz square wave with a 50% duty cycle. So if we just hit the auto button, it's going to put what it assumes is the best way to put on the square wave. Now as you can see, it's a 3 volt square wave coming out of it, and they've set it to 500 millivolts. So what I'm going to do is set this up to 1 volt, and I'm going to hit the 0 position on the vertical axis, and it's going to bring it right up to grounded level. I'm just going to increase the time scale here so that way we can get a better picture of the actual wave itself. And as you can see, it is 50% duty cycle. Now it's not a perfect wave, but I mean very rarely is it. I mean if we really increase the scale, you can actually see a logarithm for its actual growth. So one feature I really like about this oscilloscope is the fact that you can measure 20 functions at once, and you just do that by hitting the measure button and then display on. And as you can see there, a whole mass of information just came up. So I'm just going to zoom in there so you guys can get a look at it, and it tells you pretty well everything you want to know. So it's a really nice feature because, I mean, often I don't want to measure one function at a time, I want to measure multiple things. So it's one of those things that really stands out. And of course you can measure individual things just using the measure features right here and just changing the voltage and the time to period or whatever you got to do. So let's just go into the last remaining features. So now there's the acquire, so this allows you to set up some other things, so sampling real time and all that stuff. I don't really play around with it, it's not to my exact level yet. And now there's the storage feature. Being a digital oscilloscope, you can store quite a bit of information and waveforms on this. So there's the internal and the external, which you can do with the flash drive, just plugging into the front display right there, which is a nice little thing. Now it also has a cursor function, which really does come in handy. Now there's 2 modes. There's the manual where you set the individual axes at a time, and then there's also the tracking one where you're just going along the waveform. So you can actually get the readout exact positions and stuff like that, so it's a really nice feature. It allows you to troubleshoot and just see what's actually going on with your waveform. Now there's your display, so you can switch between dots and vectors. So right now I'm in the vectors form. If I switch to the dots and turn off the cursor, you can see that there you are. So it just allows you to do a couple more things. And then utilities, so there's self-calibration and stuff like that. Your language setup, setting up a pass-fail for parts and tolerances. So it's a pretty useful feature if you're doing a lot of prototyping and troubleshooting. And of course, if we put back to vectors here, you can also set up a trigger level, so if you want to just see a spike or what's going on with the waveform at a certain point, or what happens when you turn it on, this allows you to do that. It's a feature I use quite a little bit, but I'm not going to go too much into it right now. So I just want to go into the features I don't like about the oscilloscope right now. The first one I want to start off with is, I don't know if you can hear it, but the fan there is extremely loud, and it's not overly powerful loud, but you're definitely aware of its presence. Now the next thing I don't like are the probes. They're not the greatest probes, and there's two things right there. There's the actual probe if you just want to jab stuff, and then there's the clamp on one, and the ground right there. Now the one thing I don't like is the ground and the probe. You can't get a lot of distance between them, but they're cheap and it's built in the price. I mean, some oscilloscope leads cost as much as this oscilloscope costs, so you get what you pay for. So it's not that bad, but they're not the greatest. And the one thing that I really didn't like about this was there wasn't a great manual included with this. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad oscilloscope or anything, but it's definitely a beginner's oscilloscope in its price range, so you figured they'd include some information about, setting it up and stuff like that, but the details in it were next to nothing. So it's one of those things that you wish they included, but they didn't. So other than that, it's a very awesome oscilloscope. Well worth the money. I think it's something I'm not going to outgrow anytime soon. It has a really wide range of functions and abilities, which really separate it from, competitors' oscilloscopes. So overall, I give this a thumbs up, and hopefully you guys get one and enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great day.